If you've been alive in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so, and have talked to anyone under the age of 25, you've probably heard of this little hit game called Fortnite. Fortnite has taken the world by storm in a way that we haven't really seen before. What started as just a zombies defense game has managed to inspire an entire wave of battle royale games, and has fundamentally shifted how we as consumers both purchase these games as well as receive extra content in these games, essentially creating a massive shift in the live service game industry, especially in the shooter subgenre. Now, I think this is a topic that's going to get pretty confusing pretty quick if you're purely just listening to me talk about this, so I think it might be best to throw up some visual aid. I feel like for a topic like this, it probably makes a lot more sense to actually have a visual guide for this, because this is going to be a very complicated and kind of overwhelming thing. So let's just start at the basics. While I will not be going into depth about the development of Fortnite itself, I think it's important to talk about the original vision Epic Games set out for Fortnite before it turned into this absolute behemoth of a game that we have now. Getting announced back in 2011 at the Spike Video Game Awards ceremony, and finally releasing to the public in 2017, launching as a third-person zombie defense game with an added emphasis on building as a secondary defense under the tagline, Fortnite, Save the World. This still is actually a mode that you can play in modern Fortnite. Unfortunately, the mode hasn't really received many updates, and is still unfortunately locked behind a paywall, despite Epic saying in 2018 that they would be making it free to play. It's kind of clear Epic didn't really want to, put their focus into this mode, especially when they have something new just around the corner that might be even better. Just a few months later though, in late September, Fortnite released a free update to the game, introducing the world to what would become the biggest battle royale ever. It was hot, it was fresh, it was probably better value than Little Caesars ever wished it could be. It was a breath of fresh air for people who were kind of getting sick and tired of the shooter genre around this time, as it was always just about your gunplay. However, with Fortnite introducing a battle royale mode, it added a whole other level of counterplay, which is the building. This is something that we wouldn't see a crazy amount of in the beginning, within the first year or so, but as time went on, people got really good at building, and it's a whole other league nowadays. We saw that a month after the game's initial release, it had registered over 1 million players. At the end of the year though, we saw that number skyrocket to over 30 million. And the ball has been set in motion for what was to come for live service gaming. Battle Royales are nothing entirely new. First Battle Royale actually coming out back in 2015 in the form of H1Z1. And while this did have some success, the genre never really expanded much until Fortnite came around. Looking deeper into the data, Google Trends shows an interest in Battle Royales had a huge spike in October of 2017. Moving onward into 2018, we saw an even more massive boom with the game's popularity, especially as we are now hitting what many would consider the golden age of OG Fortnite. Now, for many, this was a very blissful moment in history. This was when the game felt very new and refreshing, and every season it kept seeming to get better and better. And eventually, people, as well as competition, were going to take notice. The video game market saw that Fortnite was getting bigger and bigger numbers, and everyone wanted a piece of that pie. Early in 2018, rumors started speculating of a battle royale taking place in the Titanfall universe made by EA's owned Respawn, which would later come out in 2019 as Apex Legends. Realm Royale were released in the middle of 2018 by the same team who made Paladins, which, just like Paladins, was a relatively mediocre attempt to capitalize on another subgenre of shooters. One of the biggest names to step into the BR circle that Fortnite helped popularize was Activision's Call of Duty. At E3 in 2018, we saw the lead team behind that year's Call of Duty, Treyarch, announce that it would be diving into the Battle Royale genre with Blackout. This was a very different turn for Call of Duty at the time, and a lot of people were not happy about it, and a lot of people also have Fortnite to blame because of it. And while it wasn't exactly a hit among fans, or even really the developers, they tried again and gave it another shot next year, and found way more success with their next attempt, Warzone. Even Counter-Strike, a game that's all about being a tactical 5v5 game, decided it was going to try out the Battle Royale genre. And that came with Danger Zone, which I don't really think anyone's talking about Danger Zone anymore. So we're seeing here that the tree is actually starting to form out a bit more, which is amazing. There's more eyes in the genre as a whole, and that allows for competition. Did any of them ever actually get to the same level that Fortnite did in both popularity and numbers? A few have gotten close, but a lot of them have unfortunately fallen into obscurity. There's a lot of smaller battle royales that came out around this time, also trying to capitalize on the success of Fortnite, but most of them have either died out or somehow managed to secure a small or even fractional piece of the battle royale market, leaving the market with a few more contestants than before it did when Fortnite took the world by storm. For a major part of gaming history, games generated their revenue on direct sales of the game, whether the game was bought digitally on services like the PlayStation Store or the Xbox equivalent, or physically at stores like GameStop, Walmart, Best Buy, and most standard AAA titles were released at $60 USD. But now what if developers just decided, let's just make the game free? The free-to-play model. It's a model that's a lot more standard nowadays, but really got its kick thanks to Fortnite. Being free-to-play allowed way more people to access the game, and that's partly why Fortnite experienced such a huge boom in player numbers around this time, especially because you didn't need an online membership to play Fortnite on console. It became very prevalent for people who may not have the money for the newest and fanciest AAA games. Check this one out. It's free and it looks pretty fun. This is something that a lot of current and future developers would take notice of, some games actually going back on their $40 to $60 price tag and making the game free-to-play. But now this requires developers to get a bit more creative with marketing the game and getting, gamers money. Enter in the item shop. While shooters have sold cosmetics before, they were usually minor things like a simple camo for your gun. For a couple years though, games loved to shove what essentially was gambling down people's throats. Loot boxes, supply drops, etc. Just the thought of having to open another loot box to hopefully get the Widow skin that I want it's begging to give me an aneurysm. But eventually it did slow down. Both due to community backlash as well as governments actually taking a step towards regulating this kind of form of microtransactions, we've seen a shift in how games present these microtransactions to us. And a lot of that could be pointed to Fortnite and how it achieved a new level of selling microtransactions. The item shop. A constantly rotating selection of skins, camos, and other bits of content. Anywhere priced from $10 to upwards of even $100 for a bundle, which in itself is just insane. The item shop is something that we would start to see in most live service games nowadays, trying to shove the hottest new bundle down your face so that you'll throw another $25 at the billion-dollar corporation. Fortnite also will enlighten the masses with a new, more cost-effective way to earn cosmetics in their Season 2 update, the Battle Pass. A $10 ticket to a long list of cosmetics, skins, sometimes even literal characters and weapons, all for the low price of your time, or even more money if you don't want to actually grind for the rewards. This is also around the time when we would see a lot more games introduce a premium currency model as opposed to just giving you a price tag on an item. V-Bucks, Radiant, COD points, they all kind of are the same thing at the end of the day. You're paying physical, actual money for in-game currency. Game developers are taking a rather different approach to implementing a battle pass. Seasons became the standard for how content was delivered now, and you were only given a set bit of time to complete the battle pass. If you didn't finish it in time, tough luck. This system has had some pros over the previous systems, primarily in the fact that if you buy a battle pass, you can obtain enough of whatever game's premium currency to purchase the next season's battle pass. Usually, that is. Some do argue against this system due to the sheer amount of grinding you may need to do for some games. Funnily enough, I feel like this is something Fortnite suffers from. Fleshing out the battle pass into more than just a straight 1 to 100 level system and including other quests you can do for skins, or even different styles of the same 4 skins. The battle pass system seems to be finding its way into more and more games than ever. Some would say it's actually harming modern gaming, but some would also argue that it allows for a rather healthy flow of content, especially because sometimes it allows for some crazy sights to be seen. Usually developers would center their battle passes around a sort of central theme each season for how their skins are designed. Eventually developers do get tired of constantly having to make up new designs for each season, so they just decided, you know what, we have the money. Now, this isn't to say that Fortnite single-handedly started the collide between other forms of media like musicians, TV characters, and hell, even outside video game IPs from collaborating in gaming, but I think it's important to highlight the scale at which Fortnite took this concept and ran with it, turning it into a way larger market. One of the biggest things that came out of Fortnite was the celebrity concerts. I mean, with a franchise as big as Fortnite, it's no surprise that they were able to throw away enough cash to buy out actual artists and put them in their game. We first saw them try this concept back in 2019 with the Marshmello concert. The fact that this all started in 2019 actually kind of makes me feel a little bit old, considering it's already been, 5 years? Jeez. In execution, it was okay. They picked it up when it came time to do an even bigger one with artists like Travis Scott, Ariana Grande, and even Eminem. Now, normally these would include more than just a concert for players to check out. Usually we would see like a skin or two, an emo, and a back bling. But even nowadays, we're seeing secondary battle passes as Fortnite starts rolling out artist collabs for its Fortnite Festival mode. For those unaware, Fortnite Festival is actually Fortnite's attempt to expand the game beyond a simple VR and more of like a creative experience. Very similar to what you'd find in something like Roblox or something. We're starting to see live service games dip their toes into the idea of working with an artist or multiple artists, whether they go all out and do an in-game concert like Fortnite is doing, or they just release a couple skins designed by the artist or with the artist in mind, and maybe like an emote or something. But I feel like a fair bit of that toe dipping, it can be credited to Fortnite. It also serves as a good bridge to connect Fortnite itself to the music industry, as new songs get added to the mode regularly, whether they're new songs or old songs. And then every season they include a featured artist, essentially. We can see it here. We have The Weeknd and Lady Gaga. Those two are already in the game, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. I mean, these collabs seem to bring in millions of views, and while I can't give exact numbers because I don't work in business, I think it's safe to say game companies probably saw how much money Fortnite was making through these events and decided they wanted to get in on that pie too. I use a lot of pie analogies in this. This kind of content formula is reaching other aspects of media too, like TV shows and anime. I mean, hell, as I'm writing this, Fortnite themselves released a collab with Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is incredible, by the way. Now, this technically doesn't count as a true crossover, but I would also like to point out how Fortnite has started actually implementing real people and like content creators into their games. A few other games have tried implementing content creators into their games as actual characters, but unfortunately either the game fails to take off to begin with, or something else ends up happening that kind of causes the skin to fall out of popularity. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we'd see more games introduce this kind of concept, but we have to be careful with it, as one wrong move by a creator can easily ruin their reputation and have millions of people be upset that their money was spent on this skin and therefore want it back. The whole concept of a crossover has kind of been morphed nowadays, especially because of Fortnite. What once was just maybe a what if has now been morphed into a giant tree of connections between the universes, and somehow all pinning it back to Fortnite. Now, what can we really take away from all this? Apart from the fact that I might have some serious mental illness, considering how long this script about Fortnite is. I took the creative liberties of actually fleshing the board out a bit more, just to show the kind of scale we're working at here. It's rather crazy to look at this and think, how did it all start from just a zombie defense game? But that's just how it is. Sometimes the smallest things can create the ripple effect and create what we have now. I do want to finally end this off with giving Fortnite its flowers for, doing what it's actually done, both as a movement tool for gaming, but also as a game itself. Genuinely, Fortnite has been one of those games that I've been playing for years now, and it amazes me that I'm still coming back to this game and how they continue to innovate off of it. Primarily with the crossovers nowadays. However, we are starting to see them shift off into what I mentioned earlier as a more creative experience, and I think that's something that we are probably going to see in gaming in the next couple of years. There's not going to be many teams that are going to probably take that same direction, but the few that do are going to either soar high with it or lose a lot of money. I do want to thank you if you actually did get to the end of this and hopefully either found some pretty interesting data into it, thought a bit more about how live service gaming is nowadays and what got us to this point, or you just like to hear me talk about this and like my funny little jokes. Whatever the case may be, thank you for watching, or even just listening to this, and I'm gonna go play some Fortnite now. Have a good night.